That's faster? Okay. Alright, I'm going to be throwing a ball tonight, and I'm going to oval it on the wheel. So, I'm going to throw a nice, equally distributed cylinder form, keeping it nice and narrow, more pressure with the outside hand. And this is a no trim form, as all of your cylinders should be, haha, with a strong bottom, a narrow beginning, middle, and ending. I'm coming in here, open up, and try to be fast, haha. Going out, always testing the bottom, stop your wheel. You know my jokes. Always stop your wheel when you check that bottom, make sure it's no more than a 1/4 inch. And I'm going to pay special attention to the inside here, keeping it nice and dry. And I'm going to be altering it immediately, so I want to make sure there's no extra water. It's the right thickness, nice and compressed. So now I'm going to throw the weight out of the cylinder, more pressure from the outside hand. The outside hand's in charge. Physics wants the form to come out. I'm not going to allow that. Throwing it nice and narrow. Getting a nice beefy lip. Pushing in and up. You don't have to start with a really narrow base. The interior, the diameter of the interior is probably a little over 1 inch. That's narrow. But you don't need to make the outside narrow. Every pull, you're pushing in and up. And look how dry it already is on the outside. Using that sponge to hydroplane over the surface. There's no reason to saturate that with water. The only time you need a lot of water is when you're centering and opening up. Never putting water on the form, always just putting a little water on my hand, my inside hand that needs to hydroplane. So I've distributed the clay nicely throughout this column, throughout this cylinder, keeping it nice and narrow. And now I'm going to shape it. Keeping that lip nice and beefy. I want a nice finish, a nice punctuation to this form. So I want it visually and literally weighty. So I'm going in, starting at the bottom, coming up a little bit. Now I'm pushing out, curled fingers out, 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 out. And remember, with any bottle forms, whether they're altered or not, one likes to think about the middle of this. I'm going to make this giant curve, but I want you to think more about beginnings and endings. If the bottom and the top are cinched in, the belly looks full and taking a breath, like it's taking a breath. So think less about the trajectory of the curve, even though you'd like a nice breakless curve, right? If that's the kind of bottle you're making. But it's more about how tight it is at the top and the bottom. That's going to make the interior swell. So you're thinking about beginnings and endings, and then that nice breakless curve. Now I'm going to use my stick to throw or push out. I'm not really just pushing with it. I've distributed that clay. Now I'm pushing out, pushing out, pushing out. Not moving the stick much, you know. My elbow is in. I'm just using that stick like a lever. Pushing out. And I want a nice breakless trajectory of curve there, if I can say it like that. Because I'm going to oval this immediately, and if there's any breaks, they're going to be glaring. They're going to show up immediately. This is a great way to teach students to make a real nice clean curve. And I'm just pushing out with that stick when I use the stick to shape, so I don't have to get my big hammy peasant hand in there. The throat, the neck stays narrow, just like the neck of the tool. It's like the throat of the tool. So now I'm going to pull it in. And I like it where that sort of horizontal apex of the form is low and feminine. And that's your key area. That's the area that's going to look weak if there's a break or something like that. So I'm going to make sure it's nice and strong. not shouldery. This is a hippie form, right? It's a booty form, but a nice, strong shoulder, sloped 18th century lady shoulder, right? Nice big hips for childbearing. It's nice. So look how the top of this form changes direction. So curve, 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 straight up and down. I want to keep that top, personally. There's nothing wrong with a nice oval, gestural, curving top there, but I want to keep it nice and straight. I would like that to remain round next to that oval. It's going to make that oval look more ovally. So I'm going to kill the breaks and get all the extra water off the form. And not breaks, lines, I'm sorry. Kill those lines. Loving that metal rib, how it curves. So I'm not plugging it in, I'm shaping it to the form that I've made, pushing out, getting all that excess water. There's a line of consequence, pushing it into that area, pushing it in, so it's a nice channel. You know, I'm not putting the curve in, it's a line or a channel of consequence there, so it's sort of separated from that curved body, which is quite nice. Okay. So it's straight up and down. Good. So I'm going to take it down just a touch. Look how I don't want to put a lot of pressure on the form, even though it's dry and strong. So I want that lip to finish at an angle, so I'm even going to cut it at an angle. Pushing in, pushing in, pushing in, it'll come right off. Like we talked about at the beginning, nice and beefy, nice visual, literal weight. Nice finish. You know, there's an edge there for the glaze to break on, but it's got a lot of beef to it, which is nice. Okay. Now I'm going to push out just a touch more. Right at the bottom there. Let's give it a little more. This is one of the few forms. I'll make a strong line at the bottom. But I leave this form a little bit nude. There's still that separating line right where that neck lip starts. And I'm not going to line up the body because I'm going to be pushing on the body. And I don't want the lines to get all gummed up. So it's one of the few sort of nude forms, which is hard to leave it nude, right? But we're doing it. Got a little clear off of there so it doesn't cut anything. So I'm going to do that line of consequence. I want a nice finish. So again, straight form like we talked about with the goat pot. Very clean, symmetrical form. So I want this little line, I'm going to flip up this little line of consequence to be straight and clean as well. It doesn't make sense if it's undulating gestural line. There's nothing like that on the piece. So I'm going to keep that line nice and clean too. Digit swiggle, so I'm going to come in here, always pushing down on the back. That's going to really make my pressure even when I push it into the form. So I'm pushing down first, then in, pushing in, making that nice line. I'm going to be altering this like I did the goat. So I need negative space under there. Pushing down and in, down and in, down and in, down and in. So I have space for the clay to go when I start pushing this form. Down and in, down and in, down and in. Okay. So I have that nice cuff. Now I'm going to put a deep line. Sort of doing a double job here. You know, with the edge of that tool, that wonderful edge of that rib, pushing in deeply, in deeply, in deeply. Because I don't want to lose my mark. Strong channel, you know, shadow catching channel that's going to keep that top round while I oval the body right away. Nice dry form. Nice negative space underneath. Nice line that I'm going to keep even when I push on the form. So here we go. So I'll turn it off. Love the locker bee because I can Flintstone it and use my feet and turn this thing without having to touch the wheel or anything else. So first thing I'm going to do, 90-degree angle, not a rounded paddle, a 90-degree angle so I can get right down to the bottom, keeping that edge away from the form, pushing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, pushing in, back and forth, getting that nice edge. It's sort of canted drunkenly, and I don't mind a bit because I'm just gonna, it's trapped on the wheel, I haven't wired it yet. I'm gonna come to this side, back and forth, back and forth. Like we talked about last time, cajoling that pot in, not pushing it in and buckling the bottom, working it in, okay? And you can see, because I had that nice, smooth, breakless curve, this curve too, even though it's oval now, is nice and smooth and breakless. It's nice and dry, it's not sticking to this poor delaminated paddle. Pushing in, pushing in, pushing in, getting right down to the bottom, making that bottom literally oval. Literally. Pushing in, again, pushing in, pushing in. You know, there wants to be a break there, so I'm making sure I work that in. And again, keeping my digits away from it, using those broad parts of my hand to push in and make that more dramatic form, but keeping my digits away so I don't poke the form in. See those wide planes. Love doing it like this. Got that pot trapped on the wheel. It can't go anywhere. So I'm touching it, but I'm touching it with intention. Not making the form tired, keeping it fresh by trapping it on the wheel and only touching it where I need to touch it, keeping that nice line. Now it's still trapped on the wheel, so now I'm going to bevel it like all our forms are beveled. All our edges are similar, all our forms are beveled. Just cross, cross, nice and dry. Cross. It's kind of a big bottom, but that's cool. Nice and beveled, nice and dry. And also, you know, I always use the rib, ribby rib, rib. So I'm going to come back and rib that form so the surface is similar. Nice, decorated. Now it's a two-sided form. A wonderful, making a nice canvas for the glaze or for any kind of decorating you want to do. Nice and smooth like the rest of the clay. Sort of a nice framed little area to decorate. This would be nice for a cruet form. You know, nice holding the little spout off that edge and a little quirky deal in there. All right, so you can see the top of this little shoulders, nice and narrow, however narrow you want it to be. I like it pretty narrow. There's still a little bit of a wedge of tension because I'm implying that this bottom is oval, but it's still pretty round down there, so there's a wedge, a little bit of a stiffness there to me. So what I'm gonna do, because the form is so nice and dry, is I'm gonna cut it, round top, oval body. I'm going to pick it up, the heel of my hand, first I'll just bevel that a little bit more, but with the heel of my hand I'm just going to push it up, just give it a direction and then pull it together so it's nice and oval there as well. Okay? And now, it's kind of a wide area on the bottom, this very wide, and that's wider than I would like really, but that's cool. It's kind of a wide area and sort of an unrelieved wide area. It looks sort of stuck into the ground. So I'm going to come in here and immediately roll it on this dowel and make these little gauchos and give it a nice little legs, give it a nice negative space that just reflects the oval of the entire form. So the viewer user can't get away. I am an oval. Look at my ovalness. Look at this roundness. Reflect how oval I am. I'm a two-sided form. And now I have a little oval negative space to reflect that as well. Okay, there you go. That's it.